We're convening the regular meeting of the Urban Renewal Committee, and
Commission.
we'll take the roll call.
Commissioner Yates?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Edgar?
Here.
Commissioner Neely?
Committee member Neely here.
Commissioner Mom? Here. Commissioner Pauly?
Here.
And Chair Roth?
Here. Okay. Do you have any citizen comments? None? Oh, okay. So, adoption of the agenda.
Who moved to adopt?
Second. You don't have to.
No motion necessary.
Good. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, we have an update on the Oregon City Marketplace development and a staff report.
So we're happy to have Donahue Schreiber here tonight. Just as you recall, we began talking with Donahue Schreiber about a year ago about potential development out at the Parker property, or the former landfill, which is next to the Home Depot. They have since that time they've been in negotiations with the property owner, and they've recently put that property under contract. And since it's been a while since we've heard from them, they wanted to have an opportunity to come in and present what they've been up to, where they are on the project thus far, and just kind of introduce their team to you folks and answer any questions you might have at this point. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to them. They have a short presentation for you.
Thank you. Can you introduce yourselves each?
Yes, I'm Jack Steinhauer with Donahue Schreiber.
Well, you've got an introduction slide.
I'll
so-
bring it into the slides. Good evening, everybody. I do want to thank you for your time. We do appreciate it. As Eric stated, it's been a year since we were last in front of you all, and just simply wanted to give you an update of where we've been, where we're going, and for those of you that aren't familiar with Donahue Schreiber, a little bit of who we are. I'll start off by introducing the development team. Again, I'm Jack Steinhauer. I'm the Director of Development for the Pacific Northwest. I oversee all acquisitions and development for Oregon and Washington. I've been with Donahue Schreiber for 9 years, been involved in 4.5 million square feet of development and acquisition. Sitting to my left is Mr. Mark Whitfield. He's our Executive Vice President of Operations. 37 years in the business. Architect by trade. He's also LEED AP certified. He's been involved in over 10 million square feet of development. He oversees all the operations. David Mossman is our Chief Investment Officer. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight. He had a hamstring injury that held him back from making the trip. But Moss oversees all the development and acquisition as well as leasing. He's been with the company for 17 years, involved in over $1 billion of acquisitions and development. Behind me, I have Scott Lawrence. He's our Senior VP of Construction, 17 years of experience. He's a lead green associate and has been involved with over 75 developments. And then last but certainly not least is Ms. Heather Beal. Heather Beal is our Senior VP of Leasing. Been in the industry for 26 years and involved in over 10 million square feet of leasing herself. Collectively, this group has over 100 years of experience in just retail development, which is really unique. Again, as I said at the beginning, we wanted to kind of give everyone an update of where we've been and where we're going. July of last year, we had engaged the Park Place Development Group, Parker Family, Bob Durgan, on the possible opportunity to develop on the Rosman landfill. At that point, we'd moved into negotiations and finalized an agreement with them in September of that same year. But what was unique to this property, as you all know, is there is an operating tenant, a driving range, and a critical component to this development. And so what we end up bringing them in negotiations early instead of waiting till later on. And what was unique and typical in a development is you have a developer's negotiating with a landholder. In this case, you have a landholder, a ground leasee, that also has 3 parties within that lease. So there's 5 people at this table. end up being what many people in this community and certainly in our industry thought was going to be impossible to put this together. And it took a year, but we are proud to say as of July of 2013 of this year, we do have agreements with all parties and are ready to move forward with the city.
Oh, that's wonderful news.
Since then, we have engaged city staff and began early discussions on the DDA, the Disposition and Development Agreement. We've also asked city staff to kind of help guide us with Measure 407. We know it's new to the city, it's new to us as developers, but just looking for really a path and some guidance as far as what we can expect and how we approach that. So we'll continue to rely on them for more guidance there. Again, to give a little more background on Donahue Schreiber and who we are. We're a West Coast development firm. Our future growth is really focused in Oregon, Washington, and what we call the Gold Coast of California.
What?
It's the coastline of California. The Gold Coastline.
Wow.
Again, Donahue Schreiber, we purely focus just on retail development. So we don't go into multifamily or office. We specialize just in the retail side of it. Donahue Schreiber has 76 shopping centers. It equates to about 11.4 million square feet. 1,800 different tenants in our portfolio. We have 125 employees, over 6 offices. The portfolio generates over $30 million of property tax annually. Our centers employ about 20,000 people, a number we're quite proud of. A center like what we're looking to do here in Oregon City, just in retail jobs, so leaving all the construction and center related improvement type jobs, put all that aside, just in the retail type jobs, a center like this would employ more than 1,000 people. That would be over 3% of Oregon City's population today. In our Donahue Schreiber's history, Donahue Schreiber is unique in the sense there is a Donahue, there is a Schreiber. It's pretty rare you see the big names, and those people can't be found. It was formed in 1969. They originally started with John S. Griffith and Company. They originally started in the mall business, was their primary focus, and as the market began to change and really community shopping centers and neighborhood shopping centers became more of the focus in real estate, so did Donahue Schreiber went with that change. In 1997, after weathering through a few recessions, they officially left the mall business entirely and went into that community side. In 1998, in an effort to grow Donahue Schreiber, they acquired diversified shopping centers. This also set the platform for Donahue Schreiber to bring in the institutional type investors like J.P. Morgan, who's on our board today. What's unique about that is it allows Donahue Schreiber to be able to be large in the sense of we can do the institutional investments, we can take on large developments and acquisitions, such as the development we're talking about here today. But we also are a private company, and we still have that nimble boutique type development firm, which is really special and something that's I'm grateful that I get to be a part of. You walk down our hallways, and you won't be surprised to find people at Donahue Schreiber that have been there for 10, 15. We even have people that have been there for over 30 years, which is really is a testament to Donahue Schreiber and its history. Donahue Schreiber's centers today are over 96.6% leased. That really speaks to the type of centers we develop. Tenants want to be in these centers. In 2012, we did over 1 million square feet of leasing. We outpaced our competitors in almost every market that we're in. That's really a testament to Heather Beal and her team. Our renewal rate in our centers is over 84%. What does that mean? What that means is if we open, Joe's Golf Shop comes into one of our centers, and they sign a lease for 3 years. At the end of that term, they can either elect to close, relocate, or stay. That's called a renewal. 84% of our tenants stay in our centers. And that's really, it really shows the strength of our operations team. That's Mark's side of the business. And our relationship with our tenants. I said earlier, we're really boutique in the sense that we don't just collect a paycheck. We're not just the landlord. Mark's property managers are on site daily, if not weekly, and they're constantly engaged with the community and what's happening around us, as well as what's happening inside the center.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
You say 84. What is the market average for renewals in? Do you have an idea?
I think if you would talk to the banks, you know, and in their appraisals, they'll typically say 70%.
Okay.
And we've been able to historically achieve a renewal rate greater than that.
Great. Thank you.
Donnie Schreiber is very active in the real estate market. In 2012, we did over $160 million of acquisition. We have over $200 million planned of development in 2000 through 2013. That includes a development in Placer County, California, which is, we currently have 900,000 square feet under construction. We also are redeploying capital into one of our existing centers, Town and Country. Why this is significant is that we are constantly looking through our portfolio and seeing how we can enhance our projects further. And that's different from a lot of other developers. We don't build and flip. We build and we look at these assets 10, 15, 20 years. And we have the financial backing and the capability to deploy capital where we see can further improve these centers. And that's really, again, unique to our business. Getting into Donnie Schreiber and some of our past projects. The first one is Countryside Marketplace. This is in Menifee, California. This is what our industry would consider a regional community power center. What's unique about this site plan is that it's functional for these tenants. These tenants on this site plan, it has the parking necessary, the access, the visibility for them to do what they need to do, which is sell their products. But what Donahue Schreiber is very successful in is also create identity and a place for these centers. They're not just a shopping center. As you can see, the entryway alone is something that's pretty unique, I'm sure, to most shopping centers most of you have probably visited, and even in Oregon. We have people places. This is one of my favorites. It's a pond we put in one of the village areas, Countryside. The no fishing sign is my favorite. But it has but we have seating along the sides, and our goal here is that we want people to congregate. We want people to. This is a part of their neighborhood. This is where they come to meet their friends.
We have the rocks.
Yeah, you don't have to import it here.
Here's another great people place inside Countryside Marketplace. It's a fire pit with seating around. Again, it's another place for the neighborhood to congregate. I mean, our goal really is that this is where the family wants to go have dinner. If you ask the kids, like my kids, they love going out to dinner. Hey, where do you guys want to go tonight? We want to go to Countryside. It's where they go to have dessert. It's where mom, after she drops off the kids at school, she goes and meets her friends for coffee. It's where dad wants to watch NFL football on Sundays. Another example is Del Mar Highlands. This is in the northern part of San Diego. Again, here, this is what in the industry would call a neighborhood, community grocery anchored center. Again, the site plan is laid out in such a way where the tenants can be successful. You see, you have Rite Aid, Ralph's, which is a Kroger, similar to what QFC and Safeway. In a site plan like this, it allows them to be successful, sell groceries, and do what they need to do. But then we can also bring in these people elements. Here we do live music on the weekends during the summer. We have pop jet fountains, which, again, my kids, I have 2 boys, so they go to town with these things. But what's special about this, and one thing that Donnie Schreiber really believes in, and it's the difference between saying it and believing it, is we really believe that these parts are critical to the center, because you got to have the neighborhood involvement, because that also brings in the unique restaurant owner that wants to be a part of the community. And that's something that we don't just say, but you can see is that we do. Lastly, I wanted to hit on is Oregon City and its architectural themes. When we go into a lot of cities, a lot of times we have to come up with these themes. We have to come up with these ideas. And it's not that we don't want to, but that's, it's what we do. And one thing that's so unique about Oregon City is it's already here. There's so much tradition, there's so much history here. Downtown, a lot of the architecture is stuff that we're looking to mimic in our center. That bridge, I tell you what, has a lot of memories for me. That will prove a driver out of any 16-year-old. It's better since you guys, since I was last driving it, but it has a lot of memories for me, truth. But the point is that we have a lot of excitement about what this project can be, and we'll be looking for obviously community input, input from you all on what you guys want to see this center. We don't just see this as Donnie Schreiber Center. We see this is Oregon City Center. And so it's an opportunity for all of us. We know that this is the front door. I grew up here. I mean, I know that coming off of 205, it's been a landfill. Going up Highway 213, I used to visit my family out in Malala, and that's what you see for Oregon City. Now, a lot of people don't get to see the beautiful bridge and how it comes across and downtown. But we think that a project like this can pull more people off of 205 and funnel those people into downtown, and really an opportunity to bring in a lot of other businesses. Typically, a project this size gets the attention of a lot of office builders and of course, multifamily developers. And so the opportunity goes far beyond just our project. In conclusion, we just wanted to be here to give you an update again who we are. We know there's a lot of hurdles. We hit one, and there's plenty more, especially with the landfill development. But we are excited for the opportunity. City staff has been great to work with, and we're looking forward to continue that process. And really wanted to just kind of open up for any of the questions that you guys had for us, kind of in these early stages. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you got questions?
Yeah, I got it. I'm on already.
Oh, you're on.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the involvement of the community. We've got of course, our own set of things that we're proud of in this area, and you probably know already that site was originally Abernathy Green, which was the place where the covered wagons came and actually spent the time they needed to sort out their land claims and so forth, both by water on the Willamette and also then the overland route. And having a theme connected to that history, I think, would be very very palatable to the people that live in this area. Golden California Coast? Did I understand that?
I have a feeling I'm going to be here about that for a long time.
I would suggest the Silver Oregon Territory Coast, because silver is closer to the color of gray. And,
hey, my wife's from Astoria, so easy.
I like what you're saying there.
We stole the Oregon Territory from the Native Americans before we stole California from the Mexicans. We've got a longer history there in that regard. I wish you could theme it by another name, frankly, because you'll find in the Northwest we feel rather unique, and the association with California it just goes the wrong way for a lot of Oregonians. It really does, because we feel we have a unique history that, in terms of the United States territory, is older than California's. Of course, California's, in terms of missions, goes way back before ours. But it's not the best brand name to put on this place, and I would just comment on that. I don't know if there's anything you're stuck with that.
So I think I missed you saying that
Well,
name.
you said Golden California.
No,
Cruise
that's
Ship.
for, he was
No, that's
referring
for
to an area
his-
where they have
the
development down
yeah.
below.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought this was a land grab. I thought we were equivalent. Thank goodness. Okay. One of the things
Land
that
grab.
you'll find when CenterCal was interested in that site, I think very few people in Oregon City, when they brought up the site, ever mentioned CenterCal. They mentioned Cabela's. And I don't know if you're going to have anything that comes into that site that raises that. I didn't know what Cabela's was, but then everybody thought I was stupid when I didn't know what Cabela's was. And so you had this, I guess, this real major player that's there. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a major player on this site or not. But the theme piece, I think, is extremely important to us. Where it's located, the history associated with it, and of course, we've got the end of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center. We hope that, of course, that facility will benefit by the presence of the development that occurs there at the landfill site. That's extremely important to us. And it's a location, to the best of our knowledge, we are going to have the Amtrak station functioning there over periods of time, and as we look to heavier rail systems, and we hope we have this as a major tourist destination, that location there, I think, will be ideal. And I'm very happy. First of all, a project is coming forward that we're going to be able to look at, and the theme piece, I think, excites me a great deal.
Mayor Neely, thank you. First, as an Oregonian, I promise you I'd never be in a project anywhere in the Northwest with California even close.
Good job.
I am an Oregon duck, and I'm pretty sure I'd be assassinated for that. I think we're hitting on a bit in the examples that we were showing, is theme is critical for us, and that's one of the first things we start to identify. And of course, we locked right onto the museum. We think that is such a cool thing that we could. It's right next to us, so the fact that we could bring it in is really something that we'd like to utilize, and we think it's a great idea, and hopefully, if that's something the commission is interested in as well, we're going to probably pursue that. I would also say that. Also, Mark's family here, I just found out today, came across on the Oregon Trail and actually landed here in Oregon City, so that was something I found on the flight up. So even though he's a Californian, he went to USC, so we don't try to hold it against him. But yeah, we hear what you're saying, and we will definitely keep that in mind.
Commissioner Edgar?
First of all, thank you very, very much for coming here and actually sorting this out. Your effort just to get to this place was significant. We recognize that, and your portfolio of tenants businesses that you already know that's exciting. With as much leases that you have out, you know who to talk to, who to explain talk about this special place. Okay, and. I kidded you a little bit before we talked just a second. Those of us that were raised here, somewhere in my life after traveling a lot, in fact, for 30 years I was not in Oregon, I always knew I was going to be back here. This is home, and this is where we want to be. And if we can get people to understand, and if you can help us and we can help you, I think that's one thing you'll find is that we'll be open. That's Oregon. That's Oregonians. We'll be open, and if you'll be open with us, and we can create that handshake and that win-win world. We want the investment. We want, honestly, the tax increment, but we want the jobs. And we want people to be here in Oregon City and come in and create a healthier business climate in Oregon City. And then if anything that you come about, that from your experience in developing in all of these other places, if you can see things that we should be talking about that can help us make your business thrive, that things that we might be considering. The other day I was pressing really hard with some transportation people about expanding I-205 from Stafford in through Oregon City to eliminate congestion and make this more desirable for people to use I-205 coming into Oregon City and through Oregon City. But we need your ideas. We need fresh eyes, looking at what the opportunities are as to how we can complement, again, you and what you're doing to make this the best success you could ever have. And just keep us in mind, if this conversation, if we can have a continuous conversation going on, this is positive in that that we not only get the citizens informed, but you keep us informed, and then things sail really well. And that's going to be a key to making it go. My opinion. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Just wanted to echo what has already been said with the Oregon City's uniqueness, and I think that's going to be the big piece here. It was always kind of a main focus in my mind in developing that site. I think even more so now with the National Heritage Area moving forward and the Willamette Falls Legacy Project. I think that forces us to really expect a lot more of these sites that we have undeveloped, and really gives us an opportunity to show that Oregon City is so unique that when someone comes to a development in any of those places, we want it to be something they've never seen before. We want it to be something that is really powerful. And I can see that in what you're showing me, and I can see that in what you're talking about. So as long as that keeps moving forward, and I think it will, that's what I expect. That's what I hope most of us up here expect. We're passionate about Oregon City. We're passionate about that specific site, and it's got to be amazing. It's got to be something that never has been seen before, and is unique, that really can bring people in. And I think it can be done. And it is, a major entryway to the city with the Amtrak station and the interpretive center. And so designing that in a way that creates not just an entry into the city, but connects the museum possibly to the development and the Amtrak station to development, so that it all kind of works together, that it really encourages people to come into the city and then go from there out as a hub. I think the possibilities are amazing. I haven't seen a plan come to us yet that quite does that, and so that's going to be the challenge. And so I'm so excited about the possibilities of both that site, the mill site, and all these other things that we're working on. And I think if they all start together, that they in themselves will cause the other ones to kind of be lifted higher. And this place will be amazing in about 15 years.
I think it already is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's always been amazing. We've never quite seen it live up to quite its potential, and I can feel it. I think we can all feel it, and that's why it's kind of really exciting to be not only on the City Commission but on Urban Renewal Commission at this time. It's exciting.
Yeah, thank you. And I just to comment off of that is we understand what you're saying, and we agree. And selfishly, I'm excited to hear what happens with the Blue Mill site. I mean, I think that has so much potential, and
Yeah.
I think bookends, between this project and the other side of downtown. I mean, it's enough to give someone goosebumps of what Oregon City really has the potential. And again, coming from the other side of the river, I spent a lot of time on both sides of that bridge. And
Whoa, no, don't! Now you lost me.
You guys are going to set a bridge.
Stay on this side of the river.
I tell you, I think my Lions are in some trouble next week. I've been watching on Oregon Live, and Oregon City football team's looking dangerously good this year.
We're doing good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Yates.
Thanks. Well, I want to echo my fellow commissioners. This is an exciting project, really good presentation. I'm wondering if you could, if you've gotten, how far along in the process you've gotten in terms of thinking of what you're actually going to do there. Have you got some sort of range in the size of the shopping center you're going to have? How many square feet are you anticipating?
Right now, again, we're very early in the process.
I'm sure.
But we're looking roughly around 600,000 square feet.
And do you have any idea how much money you're thinking about investing there? How much that's going to cost? All the infrastructure improvements and the landfill issues and all that. What are you thinking about sinking into our community?
We are very early in the process to really. It's premature for us to really be quite stating numbers. What I will tell you is we have a very strong group of consultants that we've hired out of Portland that have helped us really consolidate where we think the numbers are going to come in at, and we think we're pretty close to be able to start giving city staff those numbers. What I will tell you is that it's been done before. Home Depot is already there, and so we already have an example, and so we are using that as a starting point. And we think that our numbers are right in line of where they're going to end up. I think probably in the next month or so we'll be able to give you guys a much more clear idea of where the total construction costs will probably come in.
Going at it from a little different angle then, I can understand you not wanting to quote any numbers here. Are we talking, the Center Cal was talking initially at least about a lifestyle center, I think was the phrase they used, and then through the negotiations they kind of dropped that and made it more of a vanilla type shopping center. I'm kind of wondering if I'm familiar with A-grade offices and B-grade offices. I'm not really sure if they do the same thing in shopping centers, but are you planning on making an A-grade shopping center, an A+, a B-? At what level of niceness are you planning on doing here?
I will
or
tell
have you
you,
gotten that far?
I will tell you that Donnie Schreiber in our history has never developed a center that's less than A. But how you classify that is completely up to the individual who's saying it, really. But what I will tell you is that all of our centers are unique. There's not one that's alike. All of them have their own identity, their own place, and I certainly would classify each one of our centers in the A category.
And then do you have any idea of what the rental range is going to be given the current market, what you're going to be renting, say, a 4,000 square foot restaurant?
We do have, because we have so many other centers, and we are in Oregon, we are in Washington already, we do have an idea of where the market is today, but this center is probably 3-4 at least years out. We have no idea where the market's going to be at that point. We do have an idea of where we anticipate it to go, but not specifically today.
Okay, and then the $64,000 question for an Urban Renewal Commission is, what kind of subsidy are you going to be looking for?
We've read this.
That's a very good $64,000 question.
I think it was more than 64,000.
I show my age here. That was a TV show in the 50s.
We originally came in front of the commission a year ago stating that we believed that $23 million was probably where we need to be to make this project reality. I will tell you that the cost just associated with making this a buildable site, in other words, for us just to step in and be able to do what we normally do, is well above $23 million. Now we're not going to be asking for all that, but we are above that number. Our projections so far. So, we're early in the process. We are quantifying those numbers, and we will be putting together schedules for the commissioners to review.
Could you say again what the $23 million represents?
The $23 million represents taking the landfill and making it so it's a project of which we can build on.
Well, let's put it another way, the overstandard improvements that are necessary due to the existing landfill condition.
I'm going to, if I might be just a bit more specific, when I was seeing that number, and I was wondering, you've negotiated with leases and so forth. That's not part of what you might be seeking. That 23 million is making it a buildable site, period, irrespective of agreements that you made with leases, the landowner, and so forth. Is that right?
I think what you were saying is that to make it a buildable site is going to be much more than 23 million.
Right.
The overstandard improvements necessary to make this a viable site is going to be more than 23 million. We're validating that currently. We're currently in due diligence. As you know, we're not telling you anything new. This is a very complex site. We're buoyed by the fact that there is operating history with Home Depot, and we are engaged with all of the active consultants in the area that have the history and can kind of set the course for this project.
To add on to that, what I would say is that Donnie Schreiber, we're open book. Okay, every dollar that we're asking for from public funding, we'll be able to show exactly where it went.
Okay.
And so I think your question was, would it go towards leasing or some of these other things? I can answer that.
Take a message
Good at that.
forward.
My kids are better at it.
No, I'm talking about the agreements that you've made to make this thing go forward.
They do not, no.
Okay.
None of that money is part of any agreements with the current landowners or the existing lease
Okay.
on the property today.
Thank you.
Are you?
I have one more question. I'm not sure. There's a landfill right across, not a landfill, but there's a garbage transfer station right across the street from your site, as you know, well now. Have you had any discussions with them about the continued existence, with TriMet, about the continued existence of that place? And would it have any impact on your site if, I mean, you're just assuming that's going to stay where it is?
No, to answer your question, no, we have not had any communications with Metro.
Metro, not TriMet.
Would we be interested in that property? Absolutely.
Thank you. Commissioner Mum?
Thank you guys for coming. This is great. I do have to ask, how do you get a 84% retention renewal rate? That's pretty amazing. That's very impressive. You had said on one of your slides you had 76 operating centers. Is that correct?
Correct.
So do you build them and then you stay in them for a length of time and then you sell them, or like how does that work with your previous?
I think it's a great question, and thanks for asking. Typically, when we develop for a long-term play. And so in the history that I've been with Donahue Schreiber, and Mark can probably speak before me, we've never built a center to turn around and sell it. It's not what we do. We're the type of developer that if there's 3 choices of different kinds of roofing to use, we're going to pick the one that's going to last the longest, because we're looking at this property, again, 20 years into the future. So of those 76 shopping centers, we did not develop all of them. Some of them did come through acquisitions. I don't know off the top of my head how many were actually through development, but I will tell you that the majority that we do develop stay within our portfolio. Mark, do you?
Yeah, we're not merchant builders.
Okay.
We're a private real estate investment trust. There are tax advantages for us and our investors to hold on to these properties. Of the 76 properties, I understand about a third of them were acquired. And even with the acquisitions, and there were some examples that were mentioned in the presentation that we didn't have slides for, but in our operating budgets annually, and this is operating budgets, just for improvements to the properties and leasing dollars that go to these properties, that's a $20 million annual number that we are putting into our properties to make sure that they're operating effectively. We have been committed to redevelopment. Most of the acquisitions that we bring into our portfolio, there's a value-add component. So we're looking to re-merchandise with changes in tenant and added local food uses, and Heather Beal and her team are very active with that. We are looking to make ourselves distinctive in the marketplace, because we know that generates sales, and that generates public support, and that's key to a successful operating center.
I answer your question?
I saw, yes, thank you, I'm sorry. I saw on your slides you have like your anchor stores are like Target and
Kohl's,
Kohl's,
Lowe's.
Lowell's, which is great. I love those stores. The last developer did have Cabela's on the hook to come here. So do you guys have like a unique kind of place store that you could bring in that could kind of be an anchor? It's one question. And you don't have to answer it because you're still in the process. I get that. But it would be nice. And then the other thing is the last developer heard a lot from our community about family wage jobs. Are you going to bring us family wage jobs when you develop this center? I understand that we have a community college and high school students that need not necessarily a family wage job, but I just want you to be aware that was a big issue with the last developer, family wage jobs. So I think personally it's great. I appreciate all of you guys coming here and presenting this. I look forward to working with you as much as possible. If there's anything that this commission can do to help you, please don't hesitate to let us know. Very excited to see you all here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have a couple questions. I want to thank you, first of all, for all the work that you put into this and really commend you on working with 5 different people at the table. I can't imagine what that's like, especially knowing the history of some of those people at the table. So, what my question is mainly is, can you give us just a general overview of what the effect Kaiser Station has been on the surrounding area or the city of Kaiser?
First of all, Kaiser Station was not a Donahue Schreiber development. We did acquire that at the end of 2007. I think it was December 27th. My family was a little upset because I spent Christmas working. Not all of it. So Kaiser Station is a little bit different in the sense that that's an acquisition. What I can tell you is that without Donahue Schreiber, that project would not be where it's at today. The tenants that came in afterwards, and we're going to be announcing another big one, hopefully this week, right, Heather? Tomorrow. Tomorrow.
You can't do it like
There's
12
one more
hours
day.
early.
Come on, Heather.
One more day, we'd be excited to announce it here in front of all you, but unfortunately, we've got to wait 24 hours.
Can't you just write it and put it on?
But those tenants. Public knowledge. Okay. We're bringing REI into Kaiser Station.
Woo! That's cool. Now, what are you bringing us? It's all about us. That's great.
Pretty honest about that.
That's great. Thank you very much for doing that, Heather. That's great.
So the point being is we took on that project at literally the bottom of the market. I mean, we bought it when it was the top and it moved straight to the bottom. I couldn't tell you on one hand enough developers that can survive that kind of recession with a project where it was at. And we're still working on it. The tenants we did bring in during the recession, Old Navy, Marshalls, Ulta, now REI, Outback Steakhouse, Guitar Center, and Panera Bread, was all done during what was considered one of the worst retail commercial areas that's seen in quite some time. And Taylor Loft, thank you.
Heather, you wanted to step up here?
Yeah. What am I doing up here? Did I mention she leased 10 million square feet?
She knows her business.
And so the effect on the community and the fact that we were able to keep a project that probably otherwise would have died without a caliber developer like we are, I couldn't begin to say the impact. Unfortunately, being that we weren't the developers of it, it's hard when you take it that late in the game to be able to bring in some of the unique features that you typically do from a development. What I will say is what we have done with this center. We did ship a train, right, Scott? We shipped a train from San Diego. We shipped a locomotive from If you guys haven't seen it, you got to look at it because it was quite impressive. It was actually in the news because I think it was the heaviest thing that's ever gone over the pass, right? overload or whatever it was, but it had 2 cranes to pick this thing up and put it down. But we did, we brought him a locomotive because it's Kaiser Station, and so we wanted to bring in the whole feel of the train theme, and wanted the kids to have it. Now it's called the Civil War train, so we put the colors of the team that won. Thank God it's a duck. It's been I apologize right now for my Beaver fans.
You're perfectly fine.
Well, what I will tell you is we have the Beaver store fan shop in Kaiser Station, and my ducks won't come. So we've also lit. We have 3. Scott, do you know how high those trees are? So we have 300-foot plus trees in the middle of Kaiser Station. We wrapped those with bulbs during Christmas, and we lit it. And I think, Scott, correct me, it was the biggest Christmas tree on the West Coast?
Sure.
Come on.
Scott, come on, just say yes.
If Mr. Donahue was here, he would know those.
I like cautious people.
Reality there, yeah.
And it was like a beacon. I'm not sure if any of you had the chance to see it, but you drove down the 5 freeway, and it was bright. And we did it for Christmas. And it was something that a typical developer wouldn't do. But we knew we had to create, again, a sense of community and bring people in. And unfortunately, we didn't develop it, but for an acquisition, we're quite proud of where it's become and where it is today. That is correct. Our familiar Kaiser has their Eyes Festival, and we have brought that on site. We host that in our center.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thank you.
if I could just interject really quick, we've got about 15 minutes. We've got one other agenda item on there.
Oh, yes. But we're having so much fun here.
I know. Sorry to be a party pooper.
Commissioner Polly.
Oh, I was just going to say thanks again for coming, keeping us in the loop, and I'm glad that you don't do cookie cutter developments because we are not a cookie cutter community. And I appreciate that you see the uniqueness and that you value making community spaces. So I think that's great. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Nancy, should have closed it.
It's fine. You can.
Okay, Eric, we have another report. Yes.
Just a quick report. Back in September, it was the September 4th Urban Renewal Commission meeting, the Commission requested that funds be distinguished between what the Urban Renewal Agency has spent on infrastructure as opposed to grant awards. And so that's what I've done here in the staff report. I went back to 2004 all the way up to present date. And so you see that what we spent on urban renewal grants during that time period is $853,950. And then total infrastructure projects we spent close to $48 million. I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Okay, does anybody have any questions about that?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay. We're down to,
Move to accept minutes.
okay.
Second?
Oh, do we have to make a motion?
Yeah.
Do we have to do it on here? There we go.
What the
Since
heck?
I've already voted.
What's going on?
Everybody vote?
I've already
I
voted. You
think
voted
so.
for me, Nancy?
No,
That's
I
okay.
didn't, but is it yes for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was already pre-voted in.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is fine.
I know.
That was pre-populated there, yeah.
Yeah,
that.
that's really great.
Motion passes
Saves
unanimously.
Future agenda items. Anyone?
We have some.
Oh, you have some?
Well, we'll be bringing some to you,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. City manager's report.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report?
Gee
Eric, you
whiz,
got
you
this
shook
moved
us
right
up with
along.
a 15-minute
You know,
announcement.
yeah, now we have someone to have a little. You never know, right? I've assumed before and I've gotten in
Right,
trouble.
never
So
know.
Now we got 13 minutes, so we're...
I do have a little song I could sing for you.
Where's Public
Took
Works?
all the fun out of we were having fun, and now all of a sudden.
I'll bring them back.
We can get somebody from Public Works to come in.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.